Hi, and welcome back to the Self-Actualization in the Age of Crisis Chapter Summary Series. I'm your host, Ron Rivers, and today we're going to be discussing Chapter 2, Modern Shamanism, Small Rituals, Meditation, and Detachment. So meditation is pretty much the most important small ritual any self-actualizer can undertake. It doesn't cost anything, right? It's got a really low learning curve, and you can immediately begin the practice today. Meditation is the practice of controlled breathing and the prolonged direction of focus and energy towards our breath or towards a specific object over time. We practice meditation to develop an emotional calmness and mental clarity and to really reinforce our position as observers within an informational universe. Over time, the prolonged practice helps to dissolve barriers between our egos and the totality of the moment, which really further reinforces our alignment with the single truth and the relational universe. What makes meditation different than soulcraft, and why is it a small ritual, is because with meditation there is no objective of mastery. Mastery, by definition, is a relational concept, right? A master is a master because others cannot replicate what they do or see. Meditation, on the other hand, is deeply internal. Right? It's an introspective practice. Only, the benefits are realized only through doing it, and it's really difficult, if not impossible, to master. And I'll get more into that in a moment about what I mean. Meditation is ultimately an independent and isolated endeavor, so that's kind of the core difficulty. You can't measure it outside of doing it. And even after you do it, even after a prolonged period of time, you become better, but ultimately still struggle with the same challenges that the novice does. The benefits of meditation are pretty profound. And I've talked about earlier, small rituals and kind of in this customizing transcendence, which we'll get into that section in a bit. There really is no right or wrong way, and I'm not at all in the text prescriptive about what you self-actualizers must do. However, when it comes to meditation, it really is probably the single most important practice any individual can undertake. It enhances focus, energy. It helps us develop this kind of stoic detachment from the outcomes of our circumstances, really reinforcing ourselves, again, as the totality of the whole and not bound to the efforts or specific outcomes of an individual moment. Now, there's a lot of content about meditation out there. There's apps, there's books, there's obviously a ton of videos. I haven't read or watched any of it. I've been personally practicing meditation for a little over a decade, pretty much daily. It's a pretty straightforward practice. You sit with good posture, you cross your legs. I like to sit on like a pad. You can use a pillow, a folded towel works really nicely. Something just to elevate your legs a little bit off the mat. I find that helps you maintain the position and posture longer. You want to make sure that, like, even as you're practicing, you're mindful of having a straight back and good posture. Oftentimes, as I get deep into my meditation, I start to hunch. So we want to be careful of kind of constricting those internal organs and just making sure that as we breathe, we're straightening and maintaining proper posture. You can sit your hands either on your knees flat or open. Some people like that. It really is depending on what your personal preference is. I kind of fluctuate in between. But ultimately, sitting and focusing on your breath. Sometimes you can count. You can kind of count the breaths. Other times, in my immediate present, I don't count. I just kind of focus on the breath. I will say that the biggest challenge with meditation that I ran into, especially when I was brand new, was just getting frustrated. What you learn about meditation and through that process is that thoughts enter your mind. And you only ever realize it after the fact, right? You're thinking about something. You were focusing on your breath, and all of a sudden you're lost in thought. And at first, I used to get pretty frustrated. I mean, this was a while ago, but I've since learned, through the development of kind of the detachment, that you just have to let that go. What I love about meditation, for the purpose of aligning ourselves with our core values and the single truth in the relational universe, is it really develops this high degree of awareness. And through that, it reinforces our powers of choice. We recognize that there's an issue, there's a thing happening that is not in alignment with our objectives, and we immediately have the power and capacity to make the choice to redirect ourselves and refocus on our breath. And that kind of power, developing that power to breathe into the awareness, to refocus and redirect oneself, redirect our focus and energy, is really something that ripples throughout our entire lives, which is why I'm so positive on meditation, and I highly recommend it for everyone. Again, it takes no investment outside of 10 minutes to start. Usually I recommend at least 30 minutes over time. I have found personally anything over like 45 minutes, 50 minutes is really tough because your legs start to cramp up. But overall, it's just a really easy daily practice to do. I prefer to do mine in the morning, but ultimately, there's no wrong time to meditate. In summary, meditation is a great small ritual to further express our values of awareness and further develop our powers of choice in alignment with the single truth and the relational universe.